ल बाटोमै भएको रहेछ कि सिसी रह्यो भाइ त बाटोमै छ जस्तो रहेछ ब्याकग्राउन्ड त खतरा राखेछ एभ्रीवन एटलिस्ट 5 मिनेट्स को लागि सबैले अन गर है अन गर्नु भिडियो अन गर्नुस् खै म सुन्न पाए हुन्थे दोहोरो राख्थे यहाँ माथि छ हैन माथि गर्न सकिँदैन हुन्छ हुन्छ ओके गुड मर्निङ तपाईहरुले भिडियो अन त गर्नुभयो साउन्ड पनि अन गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ धेरै कम हुनुहुँदो रहेछ कुरा गर्न सकिन्छ गुड मर्निङ अब बिर्सिनु भन्दा अगाडि दशैं र तिहारको शुभकामना छ र एक्जाम पनि राम्रै गर्नुभयो होला भन्ने तपाईको फोरेन्सिक मेडिसिन र कम्युनिटी मेडिसिन राम्रै गर्नुभयो होला टुडे I'll be discussing about one of the common उता दोहोरो कुरा गरौँ उनीहरु पनि सुनौँ उनीहरु पनि कुरा गरौँ ओके तपाईले भोइस साउन्ड अनम्युट गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ है आक्स टु अनम्युट Okay, I'll be discussing about the one of the common disease, one of the common problem or symptoms which may bring the patients to the ENT OPD. And the other thing is that this disease may be, this problem may be okay, now it's okay. Okay, there won't be a background noise. This disease may be one of the problem. Any one of you may have a problem for a long time. There is a three pictures which you see in the slide. This is the area when we open a mouth or when you ask someone to open the mouth. These are the structures you see in the oral cavity. In the previous classes, you have also discussed in the normal anatomy that oral cavity is divided into oral cavity proper and the oropharynx. And particularly, this is the area we call oropharynx. And today we will be discussing about this is the enlarged structures, what we see in the oropharynx, known as the palatine tonsils or the tonsils. And we'll be discussing about the normal anatomy and the related diseases regarding the tonsils. Probably all of you have seen some kind of structures or some kind of stage of diseases or normal anatomy when someone or one of you really see in front of mirror that you can see that these are the pictures. And these the top two are the disease status and the lower one is the normal one. Okay. Case reports like when 20 years old student or any patient came to ENT OPD without complaints like a sore throat for about 3 days duration, high-grade fever with chills and rigor for 2 days, and painful swelling in below the angle of mandible, bilateral means on the both sides. As you know, regarding the symptoms, these are the complaints what the patient says to the physician or the ENT surgeon. And regarding the sore throat, uh, means there is a throat pain. The patient has been complaining of throat pain. Means throat means at the neck. You may have some confusion regarding the throat and the neck. In the simple way, in the working way, we can say that throat means in the inner side of the oral cavity and the oropharynx and the pharynx area. We count as a, in the simple term, as a throat, and the neck, the external part, what we see from the inspection in the below the chin and the upper part of the above the clavicle. These are the simple way of differentiating between the throat and the neck. So sore throat means there is a discomfort, pain, or difficulty in the regarding the throat, and high grade fever with chills and rigor means the patient ले जाडो मान्छ अथवा काम ज्वरो आउँछ भन्छ. And painful swelling below the angle of mandibles in the upper part of the angle of mandible, the patient may present with that. This may be a common scenario for you when you see a patient. After you pass your MBBS and during the internship, and completing the internship and working as a medical officer, these are the common disease features or common patients you see when you work in a big hospital or in the periphery or in the PHC, or even your neighbors or your relatives may present with this kind of features. This is the scenario. What may be a disease or pathology you suspect in this scenario? And today we'll be discussing about this pathology. Okay, on examinations, the same patient on examinations showed these features. In this slide, I have mentioned the enlarged tonsil with pause points or exudates. This is the uvula. नेपाली तर्कुलो भन्छ, बिरामीहरूले तर्कुलो भनिरहेछ. And this is the tonsil, the tonsil or the palatal tonsil, and the white spots are simply termed as pause points or exudates. And both sides have been involved. And this is the antetonsil pillar, which is inflamed, and this uvula is also inflamed, and this is the posterior phalangeal wall. It's difficult. This some part of posterior phalangeal wall, posterior tonsil pillar, and this is tonsil pillar, and the posterior phalangeal wall. There is some enlarged lymphoid follicle is there, and this is the posterior part of the ended 2/3 of the tongue. And this is the area we call it oropharynx. And you know, this upper lip, the teeth, incisors, and the molars teeth. And we are focusing on this pathology. This is the scenario what the patient, 30-year patient was brought in the ENT OPD. Yes. Okay. This is the main theme or main point we are going to discuss today. This is known as acute tonsillitis. So, as you have heard before, you have enrolled in the MBBS class, or even the relatives will say, "Mala tonsil भयो, दबाई दे," and then now after studying taking class, I think you may be able to say these my drugs work for your tonsillitis, but you are not licensed to write a prescriptions. But still, you should have a good knowledge what the good medications or what the disease the patient might have, or the main aim is to diagnosis a disease, and the treatment we follow as the state books or other practices. Okay, let's come to the basics of today's topic. As the well listening, you have heard the well listening in the previous most. I hope in the previous classes. Welders is the one gentleman, and he had discovered the ring of different lymphatics in the nose and the back of the nose and nasopharynx area and the oropharynx, in the which they have termed as a Welders ring. Actually, they are the collection of lymphatic tissues. And mentioning the most common are the lingual tonsil, which is the situated in the back of the tongue. The tongue is simply divided into anterior two-thirds and the posterior one-third. Posterior one-third is usually we cannot visualize by the naked eye, and it is quite filled with the lingual tonsils, and it seems a rough, but anterior two-thirds it seems a flat and the smooth one. Back of the tongue, lingual tonsil. Lingual means it is related to the tongue. And the palatal tonsil. These two tonsils are the tonsils. The tonsils means palatal tonsil. We have seen a few pictures before this slide. And the tubal tonsil. Tubal tonsil means tubal is related to tube, means Eustachian tube, nasopharyngeal tube or Eustachian tube. It is situated in the back of the nose, and there are the few lymphatic tissues located around that tube. So tube opening. So it is mentioned as a tubal tonsils, and at the back of the nasopharynx adenoid of nasopharyngeal tonsils. Why are they situated in the nasopharynx and the oropharynx as an inner and the outer ring? So they have a protective functions for the body, and the tissue, the liver tissues also produces lymphocytes, T lymphocytes, and for the body defense mechanism. So they are much more present in the nasopharyngeal area and the upper digestive tract. And please remember that Welders rings may be will be present in the theory exam as a short notes. So this is an important topic. You can elaborate as a what you have studied and what you have known in the studied after the textbooks. And this was the tonsil, which is as I mentioned previously, the palatal tonsil. They are large. They are the large collection of lymphatic tissue, large lymphatic tissue situated in the oropharynx, in the lateral wall of the oropharynx. This is the tonsils, and this is normal structure of the oropharynx and oral cavity. Uvula, anterior tonsil pillar, and behind that there is definitely a posterior tonsil pillar, and it creates a tonsillar fossa. And this palatal tonsil or the tonsil is located in that tonsillar fossa. Normally, the sizes may differentiate to the different portions, and it is a part of, as you mentioned, it is a part of the Welders ring. The anterior tonsillar pillar is termed, and it is formed by the palatopharyngeal fold. Palate to pharynx, palatopharyngeal fold, and this is the palatoglossal. The anterior one is the palatoglossal, and the posterior one is the palatopharyngeal. Normal anatomy to be continued. It has two surfaces. This is the lateral surfaces and medial surfaces in the fossa, anterior border and posterior border, upper pole, and the lower pole. Upper pole is located in the soft palate area and the lower pole in the tongue area. And two developmental folds like plica triangularis and plica semilunaris, and one cleft, the intertronsiliar cleft. Its medial surface is covered by epithelium, squamous epithelium, and contains 15 to 20 crypts. Means normally they are the deep pits-like structure seen in the tonsillar surface of the tonsil. These are the pits, crypts. सानो खाल्डोहरू हुन्छ, and they contain, usually they are free of any contents, but sometimes the tonsilloid or tonsils, the white exudates may be situated in this area. धेरै जस्तो बिरामीहरूले यसमा मेरो टन्सिलमा पल पर्यो, खाल्डो भयो, टन्सिल पाक्यो भनेर when they see their oral cavity in the mirror, they come with this kind of complaints. खाल्डो पर्यो, पाक्यो, भित्र घाउ पाकिसक्यो भने प्रब्लम लिइरहेको छ, but it may be a normal status. This is the normal oropharynx and tonsil tonsils. And regarding the tonsils, we should have a knowledge regarding the capsule of the tonsils. It is this capsular tonsil will be mentioned in during the surgery. The capsule, tonsillectomy surgery, the capsule. This is the area where we dissect the tonsil from superior to the inferior pole, which is formed by the pharyngobasilar fossa, and this is loosely attached to the muscular wall of the side of the tongue and inserted in front of the insertion of palatoglossus and palatopharyngeal muscles. Means these capsules differentiate between the or other structures of the pharynx, oropharynx, and the proper tonsils. Artery supply. The main supply is the tonsillar branch of the dorsolingual, ascending palatine branch of facial artery, the tonsillar branch of facial artery, ascending pharyngeal, and descending palatine. So, tonsil is one of the vascular organ of our body. So, when we do a surgery on tonsil, the main problem or the main issues is related to the bleeding, the blood loss during the surgery or the post-surgery. So, the surgeons are very worried regarding the hemostatic status of the patient after the surgery. And paratonsillar is the vein which drains to the pharyngeal venous plexus and ultimately the interjugular vein. Lymphatic drainage is jugular digastric, the lymph nodes of Bowers, and as I have mentioned in the previous case points, the patient had presented with the painful swelling in the angle of mandible. That is the jugular digastric lymph nodes. And when we classified, when we divide the lymph nodes in the neck and around the neck, this goes to the level 2. Level 2 lymph nodes means this is related to the oropharynx or tonsillar infections. Now supply is the glossopharyngeal nerve and the lesser palatal nerve. Okay. Actually, what is the functions of the tonsils or the tonsil? Different tonsils or Leydig rings, lymphatic tissue. They are the first defense against the ingested or inhaled foreign pathogens. Either the foreign body, the foreign pathogens enter through the nose or the oral cavity, they are the first one to defend our immune system. So they also produce T lymphocytes are known as T cells. Again, they are for the defense mechanism. Actually, ultimately, the function of the tonsil is to defend our immune system from the foreign pathogens. Few diseases. Let's go to the few diseases of tonsils. As I mentioned in the previous and the first few slides, that is the acute tonsillitis, which is the common disease related to the tonsils. The tonsil. Tonsil is one of the common disease of childhood, but the adults age group patients are also not uncommon. Usually, they are the infection of the primary infection of the tonsils. Tonsils को सीधे infections पनि हुन सक्छ, or there may be a secondarily they may have a acute tonsillitis after the upper respiratory infections and the secondary infection by the bacteria. So when we mention regarding the microorganisms or the causes of acute tonsillitis, there may be viruses, and the name bacteria is the beta hemolytic streptococcus. That is common for the as a whole, but in case of pediatric age group, Haemophilus influenzae is the commonest cause of tonsillitis in case of pediatric age group. Staphylococcus may be there, and pneumococcus are one of the common organism bacteria causing tonsillitis. Again, it might be a primary infection of tonsils or may have developed after the viral infections. So, how the tonsillitis develops, pathology or the pathogenesis. Initially, there might be a inflammation of tonsils and hyperemia followed by hyperemia. Hyperemia means there's the redness of the tonsils and there's the edema in the tonsils in the tonsils area. So they produces the small abscesses or exudates in the crypts, and they are collected in the tonsillar crypts. So when we examine, we see a multiple white spots on the inflamed tonsil surface, which is we mention as a pus points or tonsillar exudates. And along with these findings and with the clinical pictures, we we mentioned that the patient is suffering from tonsillitis. And regarding the acute tonsillitis, acute is related to the durations. The patient has the short duration of problem of infections. So acute, sometimes the patient may have a long duration of same problem, chronic tonsillitis, but nowadays chronic tonsillitis is not very popular terminology for ENT surgeon. So we usually stick to the acute tonsillitis or somewhere in the recurrent tonsillitis. So how does the patients of acute tonsillitis presents? As we have some idea before, there is a discomfort in the throat and followed by painful or difficulty swallowing. The patient might mention body ache, general body ache or the malaise. fever with chills and rigor, earache. Earache भने कान दुख्यो भन्छ, tonsillitis भयो तर कान किन दुख्यो? Why? Means it might be a case of referred otalgia. In the previous in the otology classes, we have mentioned the otalgia. It is the localized causes and the referred causes. This is the acute tonsillitis or the tonsillar disease may cause a earache when we examine the ear, but we don't find any positive findings, but patient still mentions of earache. So we have to look for the other areas like oropharynx, tongue, teeth, TM joint for pathology. So the patient might have a referred otalgia like earache and a neck pain. As we mentioned, the painful neck swelling might be there due to the jugular-digestive lymphadenitis. So signs. When you examine what may be we see on inspection, there is a red, swollen, congested tonsils which exudates. We have seen in the previous pictures. Enlarged tender jugular digestive lymph nodes. Patient might be febrile, but when the patient comes a couple of days or 3 or 4 days, and due to unable to take orally, the patient might have a signs may show signs of dehydration, dry lips, dry tongue, less saliva, and the patient might have a toxic look due to the continuous fever. So, this is the tonsillitis previously used to be divided into different forms, but nowadays this is for your knowledge only. Actually, acute tonsillitis means directly or acute tonsillitis, but sometimes in the test different textbook it is still a mention. So for the knowledge, it is different forms have been mentioned like superficial or cathedral, follicular tonsillitis, membranous tonsillitis, parenchymatous tonsillitis. Let's see in the following pictures. Follicular tonsillitis, which is the common one. Membranous, the exudates or the tonsillar pus points is all over the tonsillar surface as a membrane. It is termed as membranous tonsillitis. Usually, these are the common two forms of acute tonsillitis, but still there is no difference in case of investigations and the treatment management. So we stick to the acute tonsillitis. Okay, but not all these features or signs or symptoms presented in the ENDOBD might be a case of acute tonsillitis. So we should have some differential diagnosis if the patient might not improve by the medications we usually give to the acute tonsillitis. So in the back of the mind, we should always have a differential diagnosis. Common differential diagnosis might be a case of acute pharyngitis. The same area is inflamed or infected, scarlet fever, diphtheria. Diphtheria is one of the bacterial infections due to Corynebacterial diphtheria and has the same exudates on the like membranous exudates over the tonsils and might be missed by the physician, by us. So when the normal findings does not correlate with the acute tonsillitis, always have a second thought regarding the diphtheria. But due to the vaccination, this type of cases have gone down a lot. So many of us might not have a chance to see cases diphtheria in the practical life. mentioned infections, granulocytosis, glandular fever, and why the acute tonsillitis is so important for us. So sometimes it may cause a complication like peritonsillar abscess, parapharyngeal abscess, acute otitis media, acute nephritis, rheumatic fever, laryngeal edema, septicemia, and especially the abscesses and the nephritis, laryngeal edema, septicemia may cause a death of the patient. So as it can be treated as oral medications, as simple as that, but sometimes due to the delay of the medications or some comorbid conditions, the patient might have a complications. These are the things we should and we have to manage for the patients. Uh, Patient to okay. Let's continue. Or there might be the complications like peritonsil abscess, the parapharyngeal abscess, which might, which might which might be a the simple management when early, but might be of life-threatening when late presentations. Acute otitis media, so acute nephritis and the rheumatic fever. In the general public, there is a strong perceptions of uh, heart disease and the kidney disease problem related to the acute tonsillitis, the repeated acute tonsillitis and the pharyngitis. Somehow not 100% true, but regarding if the patient have a recurrent sore throat, the tonsillitis or the pharyngitis, there may be high chance of infections involving the myocarditis or valve disease, rheumatic heart diseases, and the nephritis. But not all cases are vulnerable for the cardio and the nephro. So, but still, we have to manage acute tonsillitis properly to avoid any mishap in the future. So, the treatment, how do we treat a case of tonsillitis? When the patient is, there is no any complications or there is no any features of impending complications, a patient can take orally and is in the early stage of the disease, we might prescribe the patients the oral systemic antibiotics like amoxicillin and clavulanic acid combinations or cefuroxime, and it can be added with the clindamycin or metronidazole to cover the anaerobes. But when the patients have the features of dehydration, toxicity, and patient is not able to take orally, we have to admit the patients and give IV fluids, IV injections, the same drugs. Analgesics is as a suppletive. We usually prescribes the paracetamol and the ibuprofen combinations, antiseptic gargle like povidone iodine in the name of betadine or chlorhexidine. So, and to keep the patients up to 48 to 78 hours, then review the stage the problem is continued. We can and look for any complications. And after the patients take orally, we might decide we can discharge the patients on oral medications for the 7 to 10 days, and sometimes up to the 15 days also, according to the patient's conditions. And if the patient has been readmitted time to time, we have to, usually the ENT surgeon advises for the tonsillectomy or the removal of tonsils, known as tonsillectomy. There are some few criteria regarding the tonsillectomy after the recurrent tonsillitis, which is known as the Paradise criteria for the tonsillectomy. This is a simple one. Please go through this slide and have a good uh, knowledge regarding this criteria. In the Paradise criteria of tonsillectomy for the recurrent tonsillitis, recurrent acute tonsillitis, we, as some literature mention the surgery in the during the high infection period, but for your knowledge, we don't do tonsillectomy or tonsil surgery during acute infections to avoid the spreading of the infections to the blood or the system, and there may be high chance of infections, and there will be a high chance of morbidity after the surgery. So, what is the Paradise criteria for tonsillectomy? The 7+ episodes. If the patients have a tonsillitis infections or acute tonsillitis, 7 or more than 7 in the last 1 year, in the 12 months period, 12 महिनाभित्र 1 वर्षभित्रमा 7, 7 अथवा 7 भन्दा धेरै acute tonsillitis, which should be documented 5 or more episode in last 2 years, 2 वर्षभित्रमा 5 या 5 भन्दा धेरै, or 3 or more than 3 in the last 3 years. So it should be documented. Possibly, if someone says that I have a sore throat, I have a throat pain, and I want to do tonsillectomy, as a ENT surgeon or the specialist, we don't go for the surgery. Then the patient should be, we should always follow the criteria, because the sore throat may be due to the cold intake, cold fluid or cold meal intake. It might be due to the viral infections, operative infections. It might be due to the foreign body, or it might be due to the allergy conditions. So this tonsillectomy is indicated for only the repeated infective causes. So घाँटी दुख्दैमा, थ्रोट दुख्दैमा टन्सिल 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 भन्ने चलन गर्नु हुँदैन. After and for you all, so tonsillitis भन्नुको लागि केही क्राइटेरिया साइन सिम्पटम्सहरु छ, त्यो चाहिँ मेन्सन हुनुपर्छ. घाँटी दुख्दैमा टन्सिल भनेर सिधै एन्टिबायोटिक खानुको लागि हतारिनु हुँदैन. तपाईले अरूलाई सल्लाह पनि दिनु हुँदैन after you take this class. So, and for each episode there should be a fever, lymphadenopathy or lymphadenitis, tonsillar fracture exudate, and especially a positive beta hemolytic Staphylococcus test. It should be a positive and medically treated. Means there should be a medically treated, means the doctor have treated multiple treatment prescription has been there for the patient, and which is not helping him for the patients for the long period of time. So we will usually advise them for the tonsillectomy. And regarding the tonsillectomy and the surgery principles, it will take another class. We will discuss later on. It will be either in the online classes, it might be in the clinical classes. So another disease related to the tonsil, peritonsil abscess. Actually, this is the abscess is not in the tonsil. It is just outside the tonsil, outside the tonsil and the capsule area. It is in between the tonsil capsule and the superficial muscles, and there is incision in the upper pole of the tonsil. So it is also known as quinsy. Peritonsil abscess and quinsy. Usually Okay. Yes. There's a questions regarding the why the tonsil should be removed if we have a weak defense mechanism. Actually, by removing the tonsils, we don't go to the weak defense mechanism. There are other lymphatic tissue where the same functions are done as that of palatal tonsils. But the thing is that when the patient is suffering from the recurrent tonsillitis and there is high chances of other comorbid conditions like cardiac conditions, nephro conditions, and if the patient is school-going children, there is a high loss of office work, office hours, school hours. So we might also have to think regarding the patient's uh, conditions or patient's quality of life. So that is the main reasons we usually advise them for the tonsillectomy, but not on the first attack of tonsillitis or second attack, or if the patient presents with tonsillitis this year and it recurrence reoccurs after 5 years. It's not that the cases, but if the patient has suffered a lot, that is the surgical management for the tonsillitis, and it works, and it has been on the trial and error basis, and it is a good decision. It has been a good decision regarding the tonsillectomy. That's the why. But even remove the main tonsil or palatal tonsil, we still have a lingual tonsils, nasopharyngeal tonsils, or tubal tonsil, and other lymph nodes, tonsil area around the unknown area, and they might work in the for the palatal tonsils. त्यो निकालेर पनि केही फरक नपर्ने भएर मात्रै हो, but to remove we should follow the strict criteria. Of quinsy or peritoneal abscess, usually it is seen in the unilateral only, but sometimes a few cases on the bilateral of the tonsils area. So let's continue with the tonsillar peritoneal abscess. Okay, and this is the and there is a two pictures. It's shown in this slide. The first one, this is related to acute tonsillitis, but the second one is the abscess, peritoneal abscess. We can differentiate the simply that in the acute tonsillitis, the both tonsils are usually inflamed or involved. The pus is seen in the pus points or the pus agitates are seen in the surface of the tonsil. But in case of quinsy or peritoneal abscess, it is usually a unilateral, and there is the tonsil might be a normal or it may be inflamed, but there is a huge swelling in the soft palate area, in the upper pole of the tonsil or the soft palate area, and this causes the deviation of the palate to the other side. So on examination, we might have a simple. These are the points to differentiate between the acute tonsillitis, and there are other points to differentiate. More points to differentiate. Simply, these are the on oral examination. This can be seen. So it is a collection pulse between the fibrous capsule of tonsil, usually at the upper pole, and the superior constrictor muscle of the pharynx. In the pharynx, there are three constrictor muscles: the superior, middle, and the inferior constrictor. Superior constrictor tonsillar capsule को बिचमा चाहिँ पिट जम्यो भने चाहिँ त्यो पेरिटोन्सिल एब्सेस हुन्छ. Usually, it might be a complication of acute tonsillitis or de novo. De novo भनेको आफै त्यहाँ डेभलप हुनेलाई de novo भन्यो. पर के पनि छैन कारण, तर त्यहीँबाट पनि हुन सक्छ. किन हुन सक्छ? The bacteriology को हिसाबले चाहिँ it is a mixed flora, both gram-positive, negative, and both aerobes and anaerobes are involved. So we usually give the broad spectrum of antibiotics covering the gram-positive, negative, and as well as aerobes and the anaerobes. So, and there is a theory regarding the how the peritonsillar abscess is formed and why in the upper pole. There is a two theory. One theory is that the upper pole is full of mucous secreting glands known as Weber's glands. So, due to the repeated infection or the blockage of this duct of this gland, and later on, due to the added infection, it may cause a abscess formation, or sometimes directly the organism leads to the abscess formations. So, but the Weber's theory is the most common one, accepted one. So, how does the patient presents or what are the clinical features regarding the peritonsillar abscess? Usually, the patient might not have any disease previous to the peritonsillar abscess or might have a repeated attack of acute tonsillitis. The patient may have preceded by a sore throat for a few days and then later develops a severe pain, usually unilateral, and the severe. The patient is usually ill or fever. The patient might have cases of difficulty in swallowing or painful swallowing, headache, or even or unilateral earache, hyperalgesia, and pain in the neck, which might be due to the lymphadenitis, and the distinct the features might be a hot potato voice or muffled voice. हट पोटेटोज भोइस भनेको एउटा पेशेन्टले हामीले तातो आलु खाँदाखेरि अथवा तातो चिज मुखमा लगाएर खाँदाखेरि जसरी मान्छे बोल्छ अथवा मफल भोइस बोली त अलिअलि बुझे नबुझे जस्तो हुन्छ। जस्तै तातो आलु खाएर गर्दा म अस्ति 3-4 देखि म यस्तो दुखिरहेको छ, घाँटी दुखिरहेको, खानै सकेको छैन भने यसरी बोल्छ बिरामी। टिपिकल त्यो बोलेपछि मुखमा के लिएर बोलेको जस्तो हुन्छ डेफिनेटली। एन्ड you can spot diagnose that case of peritonsillar abscess. घाँटी दुखेको छ, खानु सकेको छैन, बोली आउँदा त्यस्तो भने कतै घाँटीभित्र के प्रब्लम छ कि peritonsillar abscess होइन कि भनेर तपाईले क्लिनिकल डायग्नोसिस गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। ओरल क्याभिटी हेरेपछि अनि कन्फर्म गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। ओके, and on examinations or signs, ill-looking patient, the patient may have signs dehydrations or toxic, febrile, trismus. Another findings might be of trismus. Usually tonsillitis or trismus त्यति देखिँदैन, तर but in peritonsillar abscess due to the spasm of the muscle of mastications, trismus might develop. And there is a asymmetry of the soft palate and the deviation of uvula to the other sides and enlarged jugulogastric lymph nodes. So, how do you manage a case of peritonsillar abscess? It is a clinical diagnosis. When you suspect a case of peritonsillar abscess, it should be clear that yes, this is a case of peritonsillar abscess and there is a collection of pus in the superior pole. And it differentiates to the according to the different institutes and different countries. Is ideally in the textbook it has mentioned that we should go for the radiology, radio imaging like CT scan or ultrasonograph, but they have few advantages or few disadvantages. And in our context and in our context, the financial issue also comes into the mind for us. So we usually insert a wide bore needle, 18 gauge needle, in the most bulging part of the area in the suspected area, a line involving एउटा लाइन चाहिँ खोज्छौँ हामी बेस अफ द युभुलाबाट एक्स एक्सिस हिसाबले हरिजोन्टल एन्ड एन्टेरोटन्सिल पिलरमा भर्टिकल गरेपछि अप्पर एन्ड आउटर मोस्ट पार्टमा चाहिँ हामी निडल इन्सर्ट गर्छौँ यसरी। दिस बेस अफ रिबेलाबाट एउटा आयो एन्ड टन्सिल पिलरिङ मोटामोटी यहाँ छ यहाँबाट अप्पर एन्ड आउटरमा यो एरियामा चाहिँ हामीले insert गर्छु and when the pus is aspirated in the needle or in the syringe it is confirmed that this is a case of peritoneal abscess and we continue to remove the abscess as much as possible under the same sitting and if it fails to draw any abscess it may be termed as only a tonsillitis, but the treatment or antibiotic might be the same as for the peritonsil abscess. Only the process of uh, post drainage is involved in case of peritonsil abscess. So, Emiciclab, cefuroxime, clindamycin is the same drug for us for the treatment of peritonsil abscess. And how do you treat? Again, this is your needle, your cross your Matthew. We usually give a needle in the upper one. So there is a two method of draining the peritonsil abscess. Usually for the many years and many times durations, incisional drainage is the first and the widely used technique for the incisional drainage. The same the technique is used in the by the these two lines and incision given by the hinge forceps and is drained. Usually the single setting of incision drainage is enough for the drainage and the patient might be admitted or can go to the oral go to home on the oral antibiotic. And now another method of incision drainage apart from the incision drainage, the whiteboard needle aspiration, the 18 gauge needle and 10 ml syringe repeatedly turning. Either the one aspiration or 2 or 3 aspiration might have be enough to remove all the abscess, all the pus from this space, and it also works the same, almost as same as the incision drainage. But it might differentiate regarding the patient's hospital stay, oral intake, or antibiotic durations. The फरक पर्न सक्छ. And in our institute, CMC we are using going only for the incision. Sorry, whiteboard technique, needle aspiration le मात्रै गरिरहेको छु, and we have a article published regarding this whiteboard technique, and it is working well for us. अरू धेरै इन्स्टिट्युटले पनि whiteboard needle aspiration हुन्छ, but if it fails, only then needle aspiration can be. हजुर है ल okay. Regarding that, there is a complication might be a pharyngeal and laryngeal edema, parapharyngeal abscess, and okay, we go to the last slide today. So we have mentioned that there might be white patches or the membrane patches on the tonsils, but sometimes we have to go through, or the patient might have a different features, or the patient might have taken a different medication. We might get confused regarding that, whether that may be a case of acute tonsillitis or not. What are the different tonsillitis which we have to think regarding the differential diagnosis? As you mentioned, membranous tonsillitis is the first one, and diphtheria is the second one. Infection mononucleosis, which can be differentiated by the monospot test. Candidiasis or the oral thrust, fungal infections. The patient oral steroid लिइरहेछ अथवा लो इम्युनिटी छ भने oral thrust अथवा candidiasis डेभलप हुन सक्छ. सेम पिक्चर दिन्छ, कन्फ्युजन गरिदिन्छ. Benson angina अथवा सस्पेक्टेड नियोप्लाज्म, एक्सिजन बायोप्सी लिएर त्यसलाई कन्फर्म गर्न सकिन्छ. यदि अल्सर त्यस्तै स्वाब भएको स्क्याब भएको अल्सर चाहिँ टन्सिल डेभलप भयो, त्यस्तै व्हाइटिस प्याच मेम्ब्रेन अल्सर जस्तै देखिन्छ, मेम्ब्रेन जस्तै देखिन्छ, हामीले छुटाउन सक्छ. अथवा ट्रमेटिक अल्सर, इट माइट बी ड्यू टु द एनी फरेन बडी अर. सो पेसेन्टलाई व्हाइट प्याचेस र टन्सिलको डिफरेन्स डायग्नोसिस यिनीहरू छ. ल बाँकीहरू चाहिँ हामी अरू क्लासमा हामी गर्छौँ. थ्याङ्क यू फर attention, and once again happy Dasai and we are for you all.